Hi, my name is Jared. I'm a fan of the YouTube series Every Frame a Painting. Its host Tony is a master at deconstructing modern film techniques and packaging them in a way that's concise, fun, and educational. Whether he's talking about filming a comedy, or Jackie Chan, or even just the city of Vancouver, Tony is a master at discussing the visual elements of film. Recently, however, he did a piece on music in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where he stumbled a bit. But don't worry, Tony, I'm here to pick you up. Tony's premise is that the music in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is unmemorable. It's kind of a difficult premise, though, because if you don't remember the music, then the movie is wrong, not you, right? Well, maybe you didn't notice what they were doing. The musical choices Marvel makes follow two basic principles. First is that the soundtrack, or the vocalized popular songs, is more important than the score, the instrumental accompaniment. Second is that the individual heroes' movies are setting up musical tropes to be used as leitmotifs in the larger Avengers movies. The first one is easy to talk about. The principle was established right where it all began with 2008's Iron Man, which Tony goes into at length. He says that the score, remember that's just the instrumental music, has no emotional weight. Well, he's right and he's wrong, but he's mostly wrong. The purpose of the score in Iron Man is to persistently build tension throughout the entire movie. There's never a payoff in the film itself. It's like that one episode of The Office where Andy has to sing a song to his conclusion because it gets stuck in his head.
That part.
I know, now you don't have to.
Well, except it was going to resolve the melody, so now my head hurts. Feels like I held in a sneeze.
The goal is to subconsciously tell your brain that this movie is building up to something larger. We only get a musical payoff at the very end when Tony, no relation, says,
I am Iron Man.
Musically, everything has been leading up to this one moment. And I think we can all agree that it works amazingly well. While they use the Black Sabbath song for obvious reasons, Tony is otherwise accompanied by AC/DC songs because A, AC/DC is a reference to electricity, and all their songs are about power, just like the Iron Man suit, and B, they are showing that Tony is not the typical distraught, bleak superhero we've been stuck with for the previous 10 years. He's a rock star. Even if I didn't notice how well this worked, I'm inclined to give the film's composer, Ramin Djawadi, the benefit of every possible doubt I can. He's the guy who did this, and he's also the guy who did this. Emphasis on the soundtrack is prevalent in Thor as well, which ends with Foo Fighters' amazing Walk. It's not as memorable, of course, because it's hard to beat a song called Iron Man in a movie about an Iron Man, but still, it's a great song. And if you really think Marvel can't use songs to emotional effect, you maybe really need to rewatch Guardians of the Galaxy. Or just one of its ads. Ads which became so iconic before the movie was even released that they got their own SNL parody.
Plus people.
Also, I think even critics of the original Captain America movie will agree that this scene was golden. Now let's move on to the second part, leitmotifs. This is a term from operas where musical tropes and even instruments are connected to specific characters. The best example is probably Peter and the Wolf, but that's boring, so let's talk about it in Star Wars. Star Wars Episode 2 makes deliberate callbacks to themes from the previous movies. We hear the Duel of the Fates from Phantom Menace to show Anakin is tempted by the dark side. We hear the Yoda theme during his battle with Count Dooku. And we end with the Imperial March to show that the bad guys have arrived. Now, of course, it is unfair to compare the Marvel Cinematic Universe to Star Wars, whose music had 30 years to get into everyone's brains, which is why it kind of annoys me that Tony started his video that way. But Marvel uses the same principle to undergird the emotion of seeing its heroes save the day. We hear Captain America's patriotic theme when he's on the helicarrier. We hear the theme from Thor 2 when he grabs that car. hear the S.H.I.E.L.D. theme when the helicarrier reappears. When Iron Man shows up in Germany, he's playing, you guessed it, AC/DC. Also, the Incredible Hulk movie brought back the 1970s Lonely Man song to accompany our lonely hero. The Avengers theme itself is appropriately grand, stirring, and huge, as we see right in the opening scene, but Joss Whedon brings it back for the film's closer in a plaintive guitar solo. He did a similar thing in Serenity, with violins. That's some good emotion right there. Now, I don't want to get too musically nerdy here with you, but the Avengers theme is entirely pairs of matched triplets, meaning every musical routine is 6 notes, just like there's 6 members of the team. So again, let's give these guys the benefit of the doubt. But Marvel has also used a variety of musical types beyond the big stirring heroic stuff, whether it's the Jessica Jones theme that shows this is a detective story, the Ant-Man theme that shows this is a heist movie, or the closer Winter Soldier that shows this is a political thriller. Marvel has done an amazing job with its music. The real problem is there's just been so much content to enjoy, it's hard to remember it all. So give it another listen. Anyways, thanks for listening to my rant, especially thanks to Tony. Can't wait for your next video. But from now on, stick to the paintings.